Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Teller, TRB, seeing what's going on. And this monster continues to do very, very good things here. When I talked about it yesterday, we were looking to enter a short in the 46 to 48 range. We are averaged out about 48 right now, and it's coming down to about 52. So in truth, not in the green yet. That's okay. That happens because we took some nice healthy profits from a few other coins here. What was it? Terra Classic, 20% in KNC with another 20% there as well. So that's a short. Previous there is a long for Terra Classic. But generally speaking, again, it kind of averages out. We're using lower position size, lower leverage, so we don't have to worry about risk of liquidation as frequent. It does still happen sometimes. Trust me, it's a real thing, of course. Happens to the best of us. But for this moment here, we are still very safe with this trade. So we're going to talk about why it's going to work out, or perhaps why it may not. We may have to close our trade, right? That is something you have to do as a trader sometimes, and you got to kind of bite the bullet. It's better to take a smaller loss than it is a massive loss. Price will always turn around as soon as you close the trade. It's just the way it goes. But we're here to hopefully see what we can do to improve on that statistically. Okay, so if you are new to the channel, I am not a financial advisor. I love teaching people to trade. I hope you can learn something here today. If you do want to learn something, become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is a site. I have trading videos as well as access, of course, to our Premium and Premium Plus groups. Those are automated trades that I send out, just pretty awesome, where you can just automatically follow the trades if you'd like. It's a really cool situation. Check that out. So what I want to talk about, though, with TRB is what we discussed yesterday. So let's talk about some standard stuff. We'll work our way down, but kind of re-highlight a few other factors, okay? So first things first, we do have this ascending trend. We're at a longer-term ascending trend. We're still above that, all well and good. We've also got a shorter-term ascending trend here as well forming. So generally speaking, we're in pretty good shape here because we're above both, right? Just know that once we break through this more recent ascending trend, there's a chance we could see the price continue to pull back. Now, it shouldn't have went as far as it did yesterday, but it did, right? So what do we look at now? Well, since we broke through this key level resistance, that's going to be a new support. So this little range here between 44.5 upwards about 46, that's a new support level. That was supposed to be a resistance, but it blasted straight through that, okay? So when a resistance is broken, it turns into a support. And we can presume that that's going to hold if the price pulls back. So a good place to close your position would be in the $46 to $48 range if the price were to come down that low, and make sure you take some profits in that range. Okay. Now again, I like to emphasize the word if because we don't know if it's going to come back down yet. But in truth, it's overextended massively in a lot of different time frames. But we're going to see if this is a healthy continuation or if it's one that needs to be able to drop really quick and really fast, just like what we saw here with Frontier yesterday, for example. That was a mess. We had a 1 minute, 30% candle. Shot straight up and then came back down within about an hour or two. It was just completely nonsense. I was driving at the time. I couldn't do anything about it, but we did have a trade open. Unfortunately, I took a little bit of a loss there. Again, very standard stuff. Try not to overreact. I'm trying to normalize it because honestly, losses are a very standard part of trading. Okay, the key is to minimize your losses, maximize your gains. That's what we're going to look at here. Okay, so to establish a baseline here, we're still above 70 on the RSI. That is typically a resistance level, or in this case, potentially a support. So we might see a bouncing point here soon with the price action continuing higher, because once again, money flow index still very high. All right, so we're going to look at smaller time frames to identify if that is still continuing, but as long as the volume continues, we can assume the price will too. Take a look here. Second most strongest support level here, based on volume, is $34/$35. We'll round up, say $35 is the next level. Okay. So again, I do not recommend a short all the way to 35, but I would recommend, of course, that being one of your targets if you've already hit one or two others. Right. See, we have multiple targets on our trades that are fully automated, where you just take a certain percent per trade, or per target rather, and it effectively kind of averages yourself into or out of the trade. Right, so it's a nice little thing. Try to use that if you can. Unfortunately, no exchanges are really built like that, but Cornix, the one that we use, very, very good. Very good. Okay, so on the daily, we can kind of see we're overextended, but also testing a key level resistance. Right here on the 4-hour, we can see, big surprise, another overextension, right? So we were at a 6 yesterday when I covered this here, and it was supposed to hit and reject off about 48. Instead, it just continued to blast off. So as I mentioned, be careful shorting this coin. I'm glad we waited for a better entry. It still wasn't the best. But when I cover this, I was getting a lot of questions. Hey, should I get in at 42, 43? Unfortunately, a lot of folks got wrecked hitting that level. specifically because they use 20x leverage. Okay, so be careful with leverage. Make sure it's fully overextended before you jump in. But we can see this little jump up here. Take a look at this. Perfect hit off of 1.272, roughly $55.50 as a round number. So 55.50 is the new potential resistance that we can kind of presume will hold. Again, only saying that based on the fact that we were overextended leading into it. We'll see what else we got going on here. Overextended on the RSI as well. We're trading between 78 and 82. That's a very high number. But again, look at this. Money flow index still increasing. Okay. So as money continues to flow into this coin, we can assume it's going to continue to maintain its price point. And look at the amount of volume that we're seeing in the last 48 hours. It's pretty significant. We're well above these moving averages. So until the volume starts to dissipate, we can assume the price is going to continue to sustain itself right here. Okay, so I think there's still a probability the price will go sideways and potentially up. It may come down, consolidate off 48 and continue higher. That was the previous resistance, which is once again the new support. Okay. So we got to assume that 48 is going to hold. That's just kind of where we're at. All right. So what that does to me is that tells me that, hey, with us having an average price at about $48 presently for this coin, I'm going to look at maybe considering closing my position at 48 or adjusting my stop loss as soon as we cross that level to ensure we take a profit on this trade. Okay. Or if it doesn't seem to want to come back down that low, we're going to maybe close between 48 and 50. And hey, that's just the way it goes. Again, I have to reiterate that it's okay to close a trade early. In fact, learning how to close a trade without holding on for dear life is essentially a good trading strategy, a good thing to be able to survive markets. Okay. All right. So we've established the 4 hours extremely overextended on all time frames. There's not much else to really note. Okay, like we're just really, really high, really far. Furthermore, we take a look at T sequential on the hourly, and this is roughly where the price was at yesterday when I said don't short just yet, and it took off. Again, mainly because even though we're hitting a 9 on T sequential, we broke through that resistance level and it was consolidating at support. Okay, so that is a new support level too. So just note $44 is a secondary support outside of 48. And then, of course, once again, we've already established that $35 range is a key level support based on volume. Don't think we're going to be able to see that anytime soon. But once no more, I think 44 is probably the most appropriate level to consider. Because if we take a look at volume, just again to reiterate here, we have a decent amount of volume in the most recent past in the range here of about 35 to 40. Okay, so just something to kind of think about. All right, last but not least, here to take a look at the hourly and kind of see what's going on. With the hourly, it's important to recognize a correction here. Let's go to the hourly here, that we are either above or below the cloud. We should still be well above, but we're starting to lose that momentum. Now, this is kind of a false positive here in a way, but what I'm getting at is that the conversion line is still above the baseline. That's the main thing to look at in these momentous trends. So I'm not saying to start shorting right now. It's probably a bad idea. But again, low leverage, low position size, maybe give it a try, right? That said, with the price being where it's at, there's a good chance that we could continue higher because this hasn't lost its momentum yet. We're also seeing the average over here roughly at about that 46 to 48 range. Okay? So the price continues to go sideways and down or whatever, then it could and likely should bounce off of that as a support. It's really, really common for this cloud to work as a support level. Okay, so unless we break below the cloud firmly, there's no reason to consider this coin to be able to drop below that resistance or current support and act as a resistance. Okay, so to me, it makes a lot more sense for this coin to continue sideways, and then we want to kind of wait and see how it handles this $48 mark. If volume starts to drop, we would probably want to consider shorting at that point, because we've already acknowledged that we're overextended on all time frames. Okay, that doesn't change anything. But overextension means nothing in some cases based on the way that this coin has been moving. I mean, it's just killing it, right? So generally speaking, I think it's best to be patient and to wait at this point. If you're going to consider a long, I'd recommend a long closer to 46 to 48 range. If you're going to short, that would probably be the target. And make sure that you are, once again, monitoring this, because it's not something you want to just set and forget if you're using large leverage or a big position size. I don't recommend either. Again, small wins add up at the end of the week or the month, and I prefer to trade that way myself. If you're more of a trader like that, consider joining CryptoCash.tech is the site, link down below. You can check out our trade signals, a lot of fun, some really good results there again. Terra Classic, KNC. We almost hit our third target on Terra Classic too, so it's really cool. And hey, thanks again for all of our community members jumping on over here. We got some really, really cool folks jumping in here, and we're all having a good time. So thanks again for that. And again, the request too, I greatly appreciate that as well. You guys are awesome. All right, we'll look forward to working with y'all. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.